I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. These are words that American children hear all through their school careers, pledging allegiance to a country that stands on the promise of liberty and justice for all, a claim that evokes tremendous hope, but also pride into the hearts of those that hear it. At least, it is meant to. For some, the Pledge of Allegiance rings hollow, for the words, with liberty and justice for all, do not seem to apply to them. I am one of those people, a young African-American woman. I, like many others, do not stand for the pledge, because what the United States claims to stand for is what it is currently fighting against. How can a nation that stands on the promise of liberty and justice hold human beings hostage and treat them as a lower life form, as a population of things that live and die to work for the economic progress of a country that cares nothing for them? How can a country that claims to stand for liberty and justice hold this race of people for 400 years, establishing in that time a system of oppression that affects every minority to this day? How can a country under God use that God's word to justify the enslavement of its creations? How? I ask. The answer? Weaponized religion, dehumanization, and censorship. Religion, something 84% of the human population holds near and dear to their hearts. Something that grounds them, gives them something to strive for, and something to believe in. According to the Pew Research Center, 31.5% of religious people are Christian, and the PRRI have gathered that 71% of African Americans are Christian, a religion that happened to have been forced upon their ancestors by their masters who terrorized human beings all day long and would still show up to church every Sunday. The antebellum South was devoted to Christianity and preserving the right to own their slaves. So, naturally, as talks of abolition began to rise, the South came up with a defense. The defense being that they were, quote, doing God's work, end quote. This thought process comes from their belief that slavery not only had divine sanction, but that it was a necessary part of Christianity. This was because slavery was defined as akin to marriage. However, as we know, the South lost their passionate battle to keep their slaves and had to set them free. After 400 years of dehumanization and abuse, and the grueling years that followed with the abolition of slavery, spent fighting to have the same rights as everyone else. African Americans still struggle. We struggle facing a world desensitized and surprisingly tolerant to racism. This problem, I find, is not the faults of our children, but the faults of our education system. Our teens are taught a watered-down version of a horrific story, not even bothering to delve into critical race theory, generational trauma, or even covert versus overt racism, which would ensure that young students understand what racism is and how to avoid offending someone. These are topics that are actively being erased in our school systems with the excuse that it's hard for white children to hear, or that it's been so long since this happened. Meanwhile, my family is only 4 generations removed from slavery. We need to stop enabling such harmful beliefs and become part of the solution, educating our children. Call your representatives, email your school boards, and talk to your local government and make a fuss. This will add fuel to the already lit fire and spark change.